the Warriors are not in this in this tournament, and they were trying to get into the tournament, and there's a lot of conversation about my Warriors because they've had a very interesting season. I mean, the last 3 years have been so interesting for the Warriors. The talk about the season they won the championship, right? They started off so hot, they won all these games, and of course there were some people like, they haven't left California and it's not real and but it was real and they won a championship, right? But even in that season, like, the way they started off so hot, then they were like faced with all these injuries. And so the ultimate win total didn't end up like reflecting this high win season because they had injuries. And then like last year, this weird thing happened with the Warriors, Kelsey, where they couldn't win a damn game on the road, which is truly an outlier and an anomaly for them, because we know the Warriors can win on the road, right? But and it's one of the few times I quote Steve Kerr, but he says that was the exception, not the rule. So now you have this season where they come out and they have the second hardest strength of schedule. All of their games, majority of them are on the road, and they're winning. They lose like one game and they're playing great. And then they finally come home for this home stand, and you think they're gonna like run it up. And now it's the opposite of last year, Kelsey. They lose all but one game in a 6-game home stand. And so people are asking questions. And during that time, Draymond Green got himself suspended. He's back now. He got himself suspended, right? So people are questioning him. Kerr has been doing some head-scratching coaching errors to others, not to me, because I question Steve Kerr's coaching all the time. So, but he's been doing
you do. I see your Twitter feed.
So this is not, so people don't say I'm new. Y'all are new here. I'm not new. But you know, he goes on radio the other day and says he shouldn't have made him, pull Moses Moody out the game. So there's just all these things happening and people are talking. And of course, with the Warriors, is the dynasty over? What's up with these Warriors? So I know what's up with the Warriors, but like from the outside looking in, you helped to cover the Wizards. They got a former Warriors player. Wizards.
Oh, don't talk about him, Nat. He's
we won't not
town.
Focus on them. But, as someone from the outside looking in, how do you view what's going on with the Warriors? Because I know no matter what I say, even if I'm objective, even if I give basketball facts, people are going to say, you're a Warriors fan, you're biased. So what are your thoughts on their inconsistent season so far?
Yeah. I think it goes back to what we've been talking about a lot. They're human, and I think for so long we've seen the super team that are the Warriors. And their standard net has been greatness because that's how good they've played, and we've got to watch again, the dynasty being built. I think something going for the Warriors is that they have a consistent person in Steph Curry, who continues to just defy the odds and be that guy who they can lean on. Now, Draymond Green, of course, I think a lot of people don't realize his value to this team. Like, yes, he's older. Yes, he's Draymond, but he needs to be there. He is an important part of that squad, Nat. So I hope he does himself a favor. Yes, I hear what he's saying about having a target on his back and things like that. But that happens, when you decide to make yourself this figure. You can't all of a sudden expect people to be like, oh, he's changed now. He's different.
He choked a man and dragged him across the damn court.
To forget it here? And think he's a nice person. Come on, Draymond. Like, we all saw that. So all in all, I just said, and if Clinton, we know he can bounce back. So if I'm a Warriors fan, I'm feeling a lot better than we are right now here in DC. I think, again, still early in the season. They're still going to work through things, but I like right now where the Warriors are. They're not perfect, but that's what we like about the Warriors. We know they're a team that isn't afraid of hard work, Nat, and they'll put work in. I think the West is actually going to be really fun to watch this season as things pan out, which has me really excited, Nat, as not just a journalist, but as a basketball fan, because the Warriors are always that team that you can't count out. So I see your frustration, Nat, on Twitter. Believe me, mine will be a lot more, but I've had to, be my own therapist for the Wizards and just keep some of those thoughts to myself, where I'd be angry all the time. And I don't put that to my followers. But all in all, like I said, I feel like the Warriors are in that place where they're still figuring out things. Like you said, they lost a player that's here now in DC. And, I know people can talk about, what he meant to that team, but they're going through growing pains. It happens. Again, they're a human basketball team. But all in all, the Warriors are always that team I think you have to put a question mark around, because you just never know what their full potential can be. And that's honestly, quite frankly, I think scary for the rest of the NBA. So not saying they're the best, but they're also not a team that I'd be like banging my panic button for, just super worried about.
They're certainly not playing the best basketball right now, and I feel like people should give me credit
growing.
because for the last 2 weeks, I've left them off of my top 10 teams. So don't tell me that I'm not objective. But I will say this: I'm, it's, and I think they've earned that to like not completely be discounted. So it sounds like you're not riding off the Warriors. Look, Lil Wayne said the same thing. He told his son, like, every time y'all tell me Steph Curry's done, them boys come back and win. So
that part.
but look, to me, it's not really that complicated of a thing. I've said all season that the Warriors, their margin for error is very slim. And that does mean you can't have Draymond Green missing the games that he does.
Needs to be there,
and they have misfortune. Andrew Wiggins didn't play last night, and it was a total accident. He just slammed his finger accidentally, like in the door. But right when he finally just starts playing well again and is looking like Andrew Wiggins, right? So a Chris Paul injury, again, I'm not trying to like slight him, but we expect him to miss time. Just his age.
It's just been part of his story right now, right?
It is. But the important thing about the Warriors, and Kerr at least seems to be righting his wrong, is it is their youth movement. People thought it was the youth movement last year, but it wasn't. It's this year. This is the year he has to lean into the youth and lean into their bench, because the Warriors bench has been excellent. And last night they were excellent again, and he's one of those coaches who just likes to rely on his veterans and doesn't quite trust the young guys. But this roster is not constructed in a way to allow you to do that. You have to lean on those guys. But by the way, they're playing well. They're gaining you leads in the non-Steph Curry minutes, right? They're doing those things. Jonathan Kuminga was excellent last night. So was Pod. And Moses Moody, he didn't come off the bench, so he's not being talked about as like a bench player last night because he started, but he's been tremendous all season. And he has to lean into those guys, one, because of their youth, their athleticism, but they are going to, one, help preserve your vets, but also to have them ready for any kind of deep postseason run. Because if you don't give them the burn and allow them to make the mistakes in the regular season, then they're never going to be ready come the postseason.
For the postseason.
So, look at what Jonathan Kuminga did last night. Look at what Pods did. And then, of course, Dario has been great all season. And so he's a vet, but like their bench has been excellent. So he seems to have learned from his mistakes.
It's key. I mean, like the teams that we're seeing play well, I talked about the Pacers earlier. They're a team that they have 8 players right now, and that's scoring double figures. That's a nice thing to have. Teams with depth are going to be the teams that go far in the NBA. And like you said, yes, that means relying on some younger guys to step up and have talent. I mean, like Steph is a human, Clay is human. They're going to need time to obviously, they're going to have sometimes slumps. They're going to need to sit on the bench and get a breather. So like you said, I think it's going to be up to the Warriors to actually have that trust in these young guys if they do want to move forward, as you're saying that. And they have young guys that are very promising. I mean, there's other people that would love, I think, to have this talent. So all in all, Nat, again, I know the Warriors aren't probably where you want them to be. No team, let's be honest, is where we want them to be, because no team right now in the NBA is undefeated. But all that to say, I mean, the Warriors, I think, are hopefully trending upward in the right direction, which has to be promising for Golden State fans.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.